Chapter 5. The Letters That Changed Everything. Extended version. The silence inside the cottage felt alive. Lily remained seated at the wooden desk long after reading. May's letter. Motionless except for the trembling in her hands. Snow whispered against the window panes, forming a thin veil of white over the glass, muting the world outside. The lantern beside her flickered, its warm glow casting soft shadows across the room, shadows that stretched long and thin across the floorboards, like memories trying to rise. She read the letter again, and again, each line cut deeper, not like a wound, but like a seam breaking open, revealing something beneath she never knew was hers. You were never meant to grow up in London. You were meant to grow up here. The words echoed in her chest, stubborn and soft and devastating. Her throat tightened. She pressed her knuckles against her lips, trying to breathe through the ache swelling behind her ribs. I should have been here, she whispered. Not in accusation, not in anger, just truth. She stood abruptly, unable to sit any longer. The room felt too small, her skin too tight. She paced across the cottage, 3 steps, turn, 3 steps back, arms wrapped around herself. May had searched for her. May had wanted her. May had grieved her. All the years Lily had believed she had no family left, no roots, no history she could claim. May had been out there somewhere alone too, trying, failing, hoping. Tears spilled before she could stop them. She pressed her palms to her eyes, letting herself fold into the ache she didn't know she'd carried her whole life. Eventually, she returned to the desk and touched the bundle of letters tied with faded red string. They looked fragile, ancient, like they'd been waiting years for her fingertips to brush them. Not tonight, she thought. Not while my heart is still raw. She reached for the first envelope and froze. When a gentle knock sounded at the door, her breath hitched. Another knock, soft, hesitant. Familiar. She wiped her cheeks quickly with her sleeve, inhaled deeply, and opened the door. Jack stood on the step, hat dusted with snow, cheeks pink from the cold. His expression was careful, almost nervous. Hey, he said quietly. Are you okay? Lily didn't trust her voice yet. She stepped aside and Jack entered, stamping snow off his boots before he fully crossed the threshold. He took in the cottage slowly, every detail, every flicker of candlelight, until his gaze landed on the open box of letters. Oh, he murmured. So you opened it? She nodded. He approached the desk with the same gentleness someone might use when approaching a wounded animal. Not touching, not forcing, just present. What did you find? He asked. Lily's voice cracked. Everything. Jack exhaled softly, eyes softening. Do you want to talk about it? I don't know, she whispered. I'm still processing. He nodded. That's okay. Processing is allowed. Lily gave a small, watery laugh that was half truth, half breaking point. Jack, she said, voice thin. My mother wanted to come back here. She planned it, and then she never made it. And May, her voice caught, May didn't abandon me. She tried. She tried so hard. Jack stepped a little closer. Lily didn't step away. She wasn't perfect, Jack said softly. None of us are. But May loved deeply, quietly, fiercely. The whole village knew it. And I think she loved you before she ever met you. A tear slipped down Lily's cheek again. This time she didn't wipe it away. Jack lifted a tentative hand, pausing just before touching her, waiting for permission. When she didn't move, he brushed the tear away with the back of his knuckle. The touch was light, careful. Something inside Lily exhaled. Thank you, she whispered. Anytime, Jack replied, voice barely above a breath. A long, warm silence settled between them. Not heavy, not awkward, just full. Full of things neither dared to say yet. Lily pulled out the chair at the desk and sank into it, exhausted. Jack sat on the edge of the sofa, leaning forward, elbows on his knees, giving her space but staying close. She reached for the letter again. May said I should have grown up here, Lily murmured. In this village, in this cottage. Jack looked around the room, eyes softening. I can see that. Snowberry Hollow has a way of claiming people. Does it? Or does it trap them? Lily asked, voice raw. Jack considered that. Both, sometimes, he admitted. But mostly, it holds them, gently. Lily swallowed hard. I don't know what to do with this. With all of it. You don't have to know yet, he said. Just breathe. One day at a time. She let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. He shifted slightly closer, not touching, just near enough that she could feel his warmth. "I'm sorry for coming by so late," he said quietly. "I'm glad you did," Lily said before she could second-guess it. His eyes flicked up to hers, something bright flickering there. Something uncertain. Something hopeful. Then he stood slowly. "I should let you sleep," he murmured. "Tomorrow's going to be a long day." Lily nodded. "I'll manage." Jack moved toward the door, hesitated, then turned back. "And Lily?" he said softly. "Yes? You're stronger than you think." Her chest tightened. "I don't feel strong. You don't have to feel it for it to be true." The words hovered in the space between them, warm and safe. Then Jack opened the door, letting a gust of cold wind sweep into the room. "Good night," he said gently. "Good night," she replied. He disappeared into the snow. Lily closed the door, pressed her back against it, and let out a shaking breath. Then she returned to the desk, ran her fingers along May's handwriting one last time, and whispered into the warm, quiet cottage, "I'm staying, May, at least long enough to understand." Outside, the snow kept falling. Soft, steady, certain, as if the village itself was settling in for the story to finally unfold. Part 2, Snowflakes, Heartbeats, and a Misplaced Truth. After Jack left, Lily lingered by the door longer than she meant to, fingers resting against the wood where he'd stood just moments before. The cottage felt warmer because he'd been inside it. Too warm, too easy, too dangerous. She finally tore herself away and set water to boil for tea, hoping busy hands might quiet her mind. They didn't. She kept replaying the moment he'd brushed that tear from her cheek. The gentleness of it, the hesitation, the way he had looked at her, like she was something fragile and fierce at the same time. By the time she sat at the small table with her mug, she knew sleep was a lost cause. A soft thud sounded against the window. Lily startled, then frowned. Another thud, and then a rolled snowball splattered against the glass. She blinked. Then another snowball hit, this time closer to the corner of the window. Lily stood slowly, heart lifting despite herself, and opened the door halfway. Jack stood a few feet away in the snow, hands in pockets, shoulders hunched like a boy caught doing something mildly stupid. "Before you say anything," he said, voice low and sheepish, "I wasn't aiming for your face." Lily stared at him. "You threw snowballs at my window?" He cleared his throat. "I wasn't sure if knocking again was too much." She couldn't help the small laugh escaping her. "It's definitely something." He lifted one shoulder. "If you're awake, do you want to walk? Just around the lane. Sometimes fresh air helps after heavy news." Lily hesitated. Her heart didn't. "Let me grab my coat," she said softly. Snow and slipping hearts. They walked slowly through the quiet lane, breath floating into the night like little ghosts. Snow sparkled over everything, rooftops, hedges, street lamps dimmed by delicate frost. Lily wrapped her coat tighter. "I didn't expect tonight." "Me neither," Jack admitted. "But I didn't want you sitting alone with all that." She glanced at him. "You're good at showing up." His cheeks flushed, not from the cold. They walked in silence for a moment. A comfortable one. Then Jack cleared his throat. "So, I was thinking, tomorrow's not too busy for me. After the bakery closes, maybe we could..." He paused, suddenly unsure. "Grab dinner? At the winter hearth? They do this roast chicken thing that could probably solve most world problems." Lily's heart fluttered hard. A date. Jack Rowan was asking her on a date. Well, Jack Rowan was almost asking her on a date. She swallowed. "I'd like that." His smile spread slow and warm. "Yeah?" "Yeah," she said softly. Something eased between them. Something that had been tight and careful for days. He moved to walk beside her, close enough that their arms brushed now and then. Each accidental touch felt less accidental. At the end of the lane, they stopped beneath an old iron street lamp. Snow collected on his hat, on her hair, on the space between them. Jack inhaled like he wanted to say something important. "I meant what I said earlier," he murmured. "You're not alone in this. I know we haven't known each other long, but..." A sharp voice cut through the quiet like a knife. "Jack?" They both turned. Vanessa stood a few feet behind them, her silhouette sharp against the snow. She wasn't wearing her usual polished coat. Tonight she wore something softer, wool and muted cream. but her expression was anything but soft. She looked between them, eyes narrowing. "I've been looking for you," she said pointedly. "We had plans to discuss the holiday deliveries." Jack stiffened. "No, we didn't." Vanessa tilted her head. "You said we could talk tonight." "I said sometime this week," Jack corrected, voice firm. "I'm busy." Vanessa's eyes flicked to Lily, and Lily watched very carefully as Vanessa's expression shifted, the furrow of irritation, the flash of recognition, the small, cold smile. "Oh," Vanessa said lightly. "I didn't realize you were together." Lily opened her mouth. "We're not—" Jack opened his mouth at the same time. "It's not like that." They both stopped, the words colliding awkwardly in the air. Vanessa's smile widened. "Well," she said, tone sugar-coated and venomous, "I suppose that explains your sudden distraction. Jack, if you still care about running a professional business, I'll be in the office starting at 6 tomorrow." She gave Lily a quick surgical once-over. "Welcome to Snowberry Hollow, dear. Careful not to get too attached." Lily felt heat flood her cheeks. Jack's jaw tightened. "Vanessa." But she was already walking away, boots crunching sharply through the snow. Silence swallowed the lane. Lily's heart pounded painfully, embarrassment creeping up her neck like frost. Jack ran a hand through his hair. "I'm sorry about her. Vanessa's complicated. She thinks we're together," Lily said, voice thin. Jack winced. "I know. I should have corrected her." "You didn't." He froze. Lily shook her head. "Jack, I know what last night was, and what the snowball window thing was, and what this walk was, and it's fine. But you don't have to—" "No," he said firmly. "Lily, that's not—" "It's okay," she interrupted, lifting a hand. "Really?" Her chest felt tight, too tight, and Jack looked torn, like he wanted to reach for her but didn't know how. "I didn't want her to assume anything," he said quietly. "I just didn't want to embarrass you." The words twisted unexpectedly inside Lily. "Right," she whispered. "Embarrass me. That's not what I meant." "I should go," Lily said gently. "It's late." Jack opened his mouth, but no words came out. So Lily turned and started walking back toward the cottage. He didn't follow. When she reached the door, she stopped, leaning a trembling hand against the frame. The night had started with snowballs and almost dates. It ended with something else entirely. Distance, confusion, and the unwelcome sting of being misunderstood. Inside the cottage, the letters waited on the desk. But Lily didn't read them tonight. She crawled into bed, closed her eyes, and whispered into the quiet. "Why does every good thing have to get complicated?" Outside, the snow fell harder, as if agreeing.